It's not that we don't believe you, honey.
Well, it was real, I swear.
You know how they say there are alligators in the sewers?
Alligators in the sewers.
Maybe it was a pervert or deformed kid or
A
something.
deformed kid. It was nothing like that, penis breath!
Elliot!
What if I told you this movie was secretly censored and no one even noticed? Stick around, and I'll explain it all in just a few minutes. E.T., the extraterrestrial, didn't just phone home, it rewrote box office history, becoming the world's top-grossing film for years. But behind that shiny success are secrets most viewers missed. Let's dive in.
We now return to B.E.T. E.T.
Don't you need to phone home?
Nah, I'll do it later.
To create the E.T. model, Spielberg gave effects Master Carlo Rambaldi photos of Albert Einstein, Ernest Hemingway, and Carl Sandburg to capture a wise, weathered look. Producer Kathleen Kennedy even went to UCLA's Jules Stein Eye Institute to study both real and glass eyes. Those decisions are a big part of why the puppet reads so emotionally on camera. If the face felt alive, the body had to sell the illusion too. And that took an army. The E.T. puppet was staggeringly complex, and several different people performed it. The team built multiple heads plus a suit at a cost around $1.5 million. Two little people and 12-year-old Matthew Demerit, who was born without legs, each performed inside the suit, depending on the shot. Demerit walked on his hands for E.T.'s awkward stumbling. The head sat above the performer's head, and facial motions were controlled with intricate animatronics. But before anyone got inside that suit, one kid had to convince Spielberg this friendship was real. Henry Thomas's audition was so raw, Spielberg hired him on the spot. Thomas improvised a scene about government agents trying to take away his friend, drawing on memories of a pet's death to produce convincing tears. In the widely circulated tape, Spielberg is heard saying, "You got the job." One take, one career-making moment.
You can't take him away, he's mine!
But it's not my choice. The president asked me to come here and get him.
Okay, kid, you got the job.
Once you see the world through Elliot's eyes, everything changes, including how the adults are filmed. For most of the movie, adults are filmed like faceless giants, on purpose. Spielberg kept the camera low, around the kids' eye line, and often avoided adult faces so the world would feel like a child's. He said the lone exception is the mom. That choice shapes the film's tone long before the government men finally loom into view. Authenticity didn't stop at camera height. Spielberg even brought in real pros for a life or death scene. Real doctors played the doctors. And ad-libbed technical dialogue. Spielberg feared actors rattling off medical jargon would sound fake, so he brought in anesthesiologist Dr. Robert Murphy and colleagues with nurses and techs to stage the resuscitation scene. It adds a startling realism to E.T.'s Code Blue. The chaos feels unscripted, because much of it was. Speaking of unscripted, E.T.'s voice came from somewhere you'd never guess.
I think we're dying.
E.T.'s voice came from a chain-smoking woman, plus a collage of odd sounds. Pat Welsh, whose 2 packs a day rasp gave the alien a gravelly warmth, recorded for about 9 hours, and earned only $380. Tex then layered in other voices, including Deborah Winger, Spielberg himself, and even a USC professor's burp, plus animal noises, raccoons, otters, even horses, to finish the character's vocal performance. It's a patchwork that somehow feels like one soul. And while the voice was unexpected, so was the candy that made movie marketing history.
I taught him how to talk now. He can talk now.
M&M's said no, but Reese's Pieces said yes, and got a candy aisle miracle. Mars turned down the placement out of worry that E.T. might spook kids. Universal then struck a deal with Hershey, which rolled out a big in-theater promo. Early reporting and later roundups credit the film with a huge sales spike. A shy little alien basically became the world's sweetest salesman.
Those pieces of candy were these, Reese's Pieces.
Well, the sales of Reese's Pieces increased twofold. They just have gone sky high.
Hershey, the parent company, says business is up 65% nationwide.
Sweet deals aside, the movie's DIY technology hit a legit piece of engineering. E.T.'s phone home contraption was designed by a ham radio inventor. Science educator Henry Feinberg cobbled it together from household items: record player parts, a saw blade, an umbrella, and a speak and spell, then documented exactly how it worked. It's a fun, very nerdy peek under the hood. Movie magic meets backyard science.
This is the model of the ET communicator that I built, can be put together into a working, or can be working, beacon transmitter.
And under E.T.'s skin, Spielberg had a surprisingly botanical idea. Steven Spielberg has said E.T. is more like a plant than an animal. That idea informed the glowing heart, and even some design logic on the alien's biology. You can see how the team leaned into that vegetable concept in art and later retrospectives. It's one reason E.T. seems both otherworldly and oddly organic. From organic life force to an 8-bit disaster that became an urban legend. The infamous Atari tie-in became a landfill legend, then got dug up. Atari rushed an E.T. game for the 1982 holidays. It bombed and became shorthand for the 1983 video game Crash. Rumors long swirled that truckloads of unsold cartridges were buried in New Mexico. In 2014, a documentary crew excavated the site and pulled out hundreds of E.T. game cartridges.
The E.T. the Extraterrestrial video game, often considered to be the worst game ever made, and it is said to have buried them in the New Mexico desert in the middle of the night.
All right, time for the big secret. Here's the quiet change almost nobody noticed. In 2002, Steven Spielberg secretly censored out the agent's guns for walkie-talkies, then later called it a mistake. The 20th anniversary edition also added some CGI touch-ups to E.T.'s face. Within a decade, Spielberg publicly repented, and subsequent Blu-ray/streaming releases restored the original approach. Today he cautions against revising films to fit current sensibilities. If that blew your mind, I've got more hidden details where that came from. Drop a comment with the wildest E.T. fact you've ever heard, and tell me which movie we should decode next. And hey, if you spotted the censorship before today, you're officially part of the 1%. Subscribe for more movie secrets that almost got away.
Where's he from? Uranus? Get it? Your anus? He doesn't get it, Ty. Get it? Your